Hey, today what we're doing, we're out here on Lake Winnebago, and we're gonna be pulling spinners and bottom balancers. And I'm not a huge troller with planer boards, but one thing I do like to do is I like to use my electric trolling motor. Once in a while, if it's real, the winds are real high, strong, I will use my kicker motor. But we're gonna be working some rock humps, and I can't think of an easier way to locate fish this time of year, once the water temperature is above 58 degrees, than using a crawler harness. And basically what I've got here is this is a pre-tied crawler harness from RIGS. And this one's actually got a slow death hook on it. And I'm using about a 1 ounce bottom bouncer on here. Short leads on here too. You don't want to have real long leads. The reason for that is because there's a lot of big rocks here, and I want him to keep that bottom bouncer tight to bottom, but if the lead is too long, you're going to be constantly hooked up. So let me hook this up. I'm using a single hook harness. And basically, I like the single hook harness this time of year. You do have to let them hang on a little bit longer. And I'm just gonna thread that crawler on there. And I'm just gonna use half of a crawler. I'll give this to Phil. Pinch about half of it off right there and ready to go. We're gonna be pulling at about, Phil, you might wanna come back here.
Yes, sir.
At about 1 mile an hour. A couple tips when you are pulling bottom bouncers to remember. You've got Phil off the back, and of course I'm pulling right here. So, and a lot of times you're working structure and you're cutting in and out and zigging to the left and to the right. What I always do is, oh, there we go, it's got a fish. It's not a walleye. But what I always do is I always put the motor in gear so you don't have that prop turning, so that doesn't, when you're turning back and forth, it doesn't hook your line. First fish on a bottom bouncer, Phil. Yep, that's what they call a silver bass, better known as a sheephead, a drum.
Oh, we got one.
Yeah, first one today. There we go. Not a real big one, but it's definitely a walleye. Again, it's a great way to cover a lot of water. And the key is to let that fish hang on there for sure. Okay. Spinner. Again. This is one of my favorite ways to fish. If you were coming in here to jig fish this, if the wind was super strong, the fish would be on the highest windward side of the reef. But the winds are pretty light today. So these fish can be spread out all over this rock pile here. So again, by being able to come in here and to basically use the trolling motor and pull over it and pull down to the outsides and then back up it, you're definitely, it's a way to locate the pods of walleyes that are hanging on here. And there's not much you don't catch on spinners. I mean, I've caught everything from bass to sturgeon, pike on them. But right now, we're trying to target walleyes. You can see here, right here's a bunch of walleyes. This is all rock through here on the side imaging. There's another walleye right here. One of the biggest changes I've made about 3 years ago was by putting a bimini top on my boat. And it's not really for me so much about the rain, which is always nice to have when it is raining, but it's about keeping that sun off me. I mean, you can put sunscreen on. They say you should put it on at least 4 times during the day, an 8-hour day when you're out. But for me, I still do the sunscreen, but having that bimini really makes a big difference on keeping that sun off of my body here. I've, over the course of, the years, I've certainly known quite a few people that have gotten melanoma. And boy, when they start cutting on your skin and cutting things off your face, it's never a good thing. So I figure, I'll take the bimini any day of the week. The nice part about this bimini too is it goes up and down in stores real easily. So I don't really see any down side of having a bimini top on there. It's just, it's another nice feature. Plus, when it's super hot out, it's always a lot cooler once you get underneath here. It's amazing the difference in the temperature. Small fish, Phil?
Yep, very little. What do I get? A little baby what?
What is it?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, first one of the year. Just talking about that.
Perch?
Yep.
Oh, he's a huge one then.
What I'll do is when I feel him grab it, is my rod's forward like right now. My rod's forward like right now. When they grab it, I'll actually start letting my hand go back and then I'll sweep forward. A lot of times you'll feel them, you'll hang on it and they'll be on there for, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and the fish will actually make a turn, and that's what I'll set the hook on them. Now, the last couple I've missed, so what I'm gonna do is, now I got one hanging on there, but what I'm trying to explain to you is what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna let this fish hang a little longer, and then see how I'm gonna start dropping my rod tip back a little bit, because I'm moving forward. There he is. Feels like a decent fish. Now, the last 3 I've missed because I didn't drop my tip back. This one, I'm gonna come around on it. And, oh yeah, that's a good fish right there. Gotta love that. You got one too? Okay. That's definitely a good fish. This one's almost a little too big to, not him. There you go. Hey everybody, I'm gonna measure this one up, and if it's over 18 inches, I'm gonna let it go. This one measures out at 20 inches. I'm gonna let this one go. Here we go. We got a decent fish on here. Definitely good. This is definitely a good fish. It's well worth getting up for. There's a nice fish. That's a big one too. Watch. There you go. It's a good fish on a spinner right there. That is the nice part. You see how that spinner popped right out? That's what I love about that single hook too, is that, when the fish are real finicky, they come up behind that and they grab it. And if you got a couple reasons why you use a single hook harness. I'm gonna get the boat back under control here. And the main reason is that when the fish are finicky, they come up behind it and they start mouthing that crawler. They don't feel anything hard on it, so they advance and keep pulling up on it. The other reason is when you're pulling a lot of rocks, through that, if you have a 2 or 3 hook harness, you're constantly gonna be snagged up because you want that bait to ride so tight along the bottom. Let me grab this fish. That's a good, just about 17, 18 incher. Good fish there. And the part I like so much too about just pulling a bottom bouncer and a spinner over the side of the boat is that I'm watching the graph all the time. I'm using my electric trolling motor and moving in and out, and I can stay right on that structure. It's huge when you're looking at the side imaging too. I can see the fish on the side imaging, and I can push my boat left or right, whatever way I'm marking the fish, and get right on them. And that spinner's perfectly behind the boat, so it gives me plenty of time when I do see them on the side imaging to move over to where they're at. Okay, let's put this one in a live well. I think we got 1 or 2 more to go and we're done.